Welcome to the Eye Opener. I'm your host, Michael Lewis. Joe Biden got played by a communist dictator just like Jimmy Carter did. What are their similarities? A prestigious black university is closing down its classics department. One professor argues that the decision is a disservice to all of humanity. All eyes are on Maricopa County's ballot counting. Former President Trump calls out Arizona Governor Ducey to react quickly. What had Doucey done wrong? The city of Los Angeles drove out the homeless ahead of the Academy Awards. Why were the Oscars held at a train station this year? Okay, my friends, let's take a closer look together. In June 1979, President Jimmy Carter traveled to Vienna to meet with President of the Soviet Union, Leonid Brezhnev, to sign the Strategic Arm Limitation Treaty known as SALT II. Brezhnev was so pleased with the deal, he kissed Carter on the cheek. When your enemy is overjoyed, you know there's something wrong. SALT II basically established numerical equality between the two nations in terms of nuclear weapon delivery systems. For America, the fear that the Soviets were leaping ahead in the arms race was the primary motivator. In truth, the treaty did very little to stop the arms race. It met with such harsh criticism back in the United States that it was denounced as a sellout to the Soviet Union. And it would leave America defenseless against the whole range of new weapons not mentioned in the agreement. Critics say the Soviet Union simply couldn't be trusted. 6 months after signing the deal, the Soviet Red Army invaded Afghanistan in December 1979. A month later, Carter withdrew the treaty from Senate consideration. SALT became a winning point for the Republican Party in the 1980 presidential race. Republicans called out the treaty as fundamentally flawed. On Election Day, Ronald Reagan swiftly won 44 of the 50 states. Reagan said, after taking office, "We're giving up on SALT." Journalist Sidney Harris once said, "History repeats itself, but in such cunning disguise that we never detect the resemblance until the damage is done." On February 19th, Biden officially rejoined the Paris Agreement that President Trump had pulled America out of. On April 22nd, Biden invited CCP leader Xi Jinping to speak at the climate summit. The Paris Agreement requires the U.S. to reduce its carbon emission by 50% by 2030, compared with 2005 levels. Now, what's China's commitment? At the summit, Xi reiterated China will, quote, strive to peak carbon dioxide emissions before 2030 and achieve carbon neutrality before 2060. The CCP will increase carbon emissions until 2030 while America reduces them. And pay extra attention here, Xi used the word strive, which clearly says they aren't that serious about this deal. If you know the Chinese Communist Party well, for Xi, he could show more commitment and choose not to do it anyways. Today, China accounts for 28% of the carbon emissions. The U.S. accounts for about half of that at 15%. On coal power, China has about 250 gigawatts under development, a 21% increase from 2019. While China's building more coal plants, Biden's openly shutting down all of them. He made this clear in 2019.
Coal-burning plants. No one's going to build another coal burning. We've got to shut the ones down we have.
With current emission levels, doesn't it make more sense to have China agree to substantial reductions? No, not in the Paris Agreement, which is an awfully unfavorable treaty for the United States to participate in, as it discriminates against developed countries and kills American jobs. The Paris Accord gives developing countries like Communist China more years to pollute the earth. That's what the so-called equity is about on a global scale. Of course, the CCP is over the moon to have America rejoin the deal. Joe Biden got played by a communist dictator just like Jimmy Carter. Will Biden repeat Carter's fate in 2024? We'll just have to wait and see. Democrats' radical agenda handed Republicans a long list of winning points in the next election. Besides the terrible Paris Agreement, immigration is a much bigger topic. While most conservatives argued against amnesty for illegal immigrants, a stream of Republicans is secretly working with Biden to pass an amnesty and cheap labor bill. Last Thursday, former President Bush told Hugh Hewitt, a fierce Trump critic, that the Conch Network uses its deep pockets to push hard for immigration reform, and it's been working with the group on an amnesty proposal that would import more labor, consumers, and renters into the United States. The Conch Network is a conservative mega donor group with a wide variety of Republican donors. It turns out these donors would profit from an inflow of new workers, apartment renters, and home buyers. Bush told Hewitt some, quote, rational Republicans are backing this amnesty effort, although he didn't say who the rational GOP members are. Last week, a group of 12 Senate Democrats and Republicans met to explore opportunities of passing an amnesty bill to give 3.5 million DACA illegal aliens legal status. Republican members in the meeting included John Kerry, Lindsey Graham, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowitz, and Mike Rounds. At this moment, any discussion advocating amnesty is questionable. Illegal migrants have overwhelmed the southern border for months. Granting amnesty amid the border crisis would only incentivize more to come. And it's definitely the opposite of putting America first. 33 days after being tapped to tackle the border crisis, Kamala Harris has yet to hold a press conference. Her inaction says everything about her stance on the migrant surge. Do you still remember during the first several months of the coronavirus outbreak in the United States, President Trump held daily press conferences? But Harris hasn't sat in the White House immobile. She just has no interest in visiting the border. After her Chicago trip on March 31st, she visited North Carolina and New Hampshire to tout Biden's multi-trillion infrastructure plan. When Harris arrived in New Hampshire last Friday, she was greeted by protesters urging her to go visit the southern border instead. A sign read, Mexico, 2,254 miles. Another sign said, impeach Biden-Harris. There's nothing memorable in Harris's remarks on the American Jobs Plan in New Hampshire. Only she got picked on for her disgraceful laughing again while talking about an unlaughable matter.
Take note of the fact that during the pandemic, over 2 million people, 2 million women people, became unemployed.
Harris should thank her mask, which really helped her save face. The long-fought battle for forensic audit of Maricopa County started Friday, April the 23rd. On the same day, Arizona Democrats filed a lawsuit asking for a halt. The Democrats claimed there were irregularities with the audit effort. However, the state Senate provided a high level of transparency of the audit process. 9 cameras are live streaming 24 hours at Veteran Memorial Coliseum. You can watch the proceedings at azaudit.org. Now, following the lawsuit, the county court ruled Democrats must pay $1 million to make up any potential cost as a result of the halt. You think Democrats would try everything to stop the audit? No, they didn't. Chair of the Arizona Democrats, Raquel Teran, rather called placing a $1 million bond a laughable idea that the DNC wouldn't want to pay for. So nothing so far has impeded the process. UV lights are being used to detect oil from fingerprints on the ballots. No fingerprints mean a higher chance that the ballot was marked through a non-human process. Former President Trump, in a statement, thanked the brave and patriotic Senate Republicans from Arizona. Trump said their tireless efforts have led to a massive recount, ballot examination, and full forensic audit undertaken by experts retained by state Senate, with results to be announced within 6 weeks. Now, however, Democrats, on the other hand, upon hearing the news of the court order, sent 73 lawyers to Arizona in an effort to stop the recount. What exactly are they trying to hide? In a separate statement, Trump called out Arizona Governor Ducey for being of shockingly zero help to the Senate Republicans in securing the audit. In the past, Ducey repeatedly dodged questions about the pending audit, refusing to say whether he supported the effort or whether he believed it was necessary. In the weekend, Trump offered Ducey an opportunity to correct his wrongs. He said Governor Ducey will be held fully responsible for the safety of those involved with the audit. State police or National Guard must be immediately sent out for protection. Governor Ducey must finally act. If Maricopa's forensic audit unveils significant irregularities in the 2020 election, it would certainly prompt other counties and states to do the same. At any rate, what's happening in Arizona is a vital first step to restoring voters' confidence for future elections. Now, before we continue, if you like our program, please hit the like button and subscribe. It'll help more people see our videos. And if you want to help support the Eye Opener, click on the Teespring link in the description to purchase a mug that matters. Your support is greatly appreciated. Okay, my friends, let's get back to the show. Do you enjoy reading the classics? When is the last time you read works of Socrates and Plato? Studies say college is the one place where students are most likely to be exposed to the classics. Howard University is a federally chartered black university in Washington, D.C., Established in 1867, Howard is the only historically black college or university in the country with a classics department. The department teaches ancient human cultures such as the Greek and Roman worlds, as well as Egypt, Judea, and the Near East. But on April 16th, Howard issued a statement saying it's decided to close the classics department as part of its prioritization efforts. It's not entirely clear what exactly led to this decision, yet given the context of the radical push of racial justice in almost all aspects of society, and especially in the academic world, it's not hard to see the classics are at odds with the left. Not because the classics are predominantly white history and philosophies of the West. It's because the timelessness and sacredness of the classics give all human beings a strong sense of humanity and a connection to higher awareness, regardless of their race. That's why they're all called the classics, and that's precisely the reason why the left wants to stop students from accessing them. Dr. Anika Prather, a graduate of Howard and an adjunct professor at the school's classic department, found the study of ancient Greece and Rome didn't cause black people to deny their heritage. Instead, studying the classics gave them knowledge to fight for their rights and, very importantly, self-confidence when society sought to destroy the sense of self-worth. Martin Luther King's philosophy in his movement for civil rights is influenced by many classical authors, such as Plato, Sophocles, and Aeschylus. MLK's letter from Birmingham jail drew inspiration from Plato's myth of the cave. If you don't know about the ancient philosophies that influenced MLK's work, you won't fully understand what MLK was trying to achieve, not even close. Prather argued that since Howard's founding, each student had at least some exposure to the works of the sacred books, and this is the beauty and uniqueness of Howard. To close down the classics would be an absolute disservice to all of humanity. Just as the classics have inspired great leaders like MLK, classics such as Shakespeare have influenced Hollywood and TV for decades. With the recent Oscars held in Los Angeles, the 93rd edition of the awards ceremony came under fire. Gavin Newsom wasn't able to send all homeless people to hotel rooms. In downtown Los Angeles, many homeless still live in tent cities next to Union Station, but not the past weekend, because the Oscars were in town. One homeless man, DJ, said that about a week ago, they were told to move out of the area or risk having their belongings demolished. LA had to improve its image by hiding the homeless. Andy Bales of Union Rescue Mission said LA has been faking its glamorous image anytime there's a big national event like the Academy Awards. A massive wall of security fencing was erected around the event venue. DJ offered the city an alternative to avoid repeating this hustle every year. He said, "If you're going to have your award show, don't have it where the homeless people are. You don't have to worry about it." This is reasonable advice, but why did they choose to hold the Oscars at a train station this year? Critics say it's actually a stellar choice since the architectural gem offers beauty and grandeur, especially with the grand waiting room and historic ticketing hall. But the city only cares about the seemingly prestigious venue for the Academy Awards. Does the train station look that great in the rest of the year, with the tent city nearby? The primary purpose of Union Station is to serve people who take the train 365 days a year. The city mayor and Governor Newsom should keep this in mind. Besides the posturing of the Academy Awards, Major League Baseball continued its hypocrisy. The league is now asking its fans what party they identify with as part of its extensive fan surveys around the ballpark experience. The league claims the surveys are to gain knowledge about fan perceptions, preferences, and behaviors during the COVID-19 pandemic. MLB said research shows a person's self-identified political affiliation often impacts their views about the pandemic, and therefore their views about returning to the ballpark. But we all know what the MLB really wants to figure out. Earlier this month, MLB moved its All-Star game out of Georgia amid the election reform saga. A poll shows 67% of respondents agree the relocation was politically driven. MLB had misled Americans about Georgia's new voting laws, and now a large number of people are boycotting the league. The pandemic is temporary, but the boycott would last much longer. What the league really worries about is how much audience it would lose because of its politically motivated relocation. Finally, we have good news for people of Montana. In keeping with protecting your rights, on Friday, Governor Greg Gianforte signed a new law protecting the Second Amendment rights of Montana gun owners. He said every law-abiding Montanan should be able to defend themselves and their loved ones. The new law bans law enforcement agencies and state employees from enforcing federal restrictions on guns or from spending state money on gun, ammunition, or magazine restrictions. Currently, a similar bill is waiting for Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt's signature to turn the state into a Second Amendment sanctuary. And that's it for today, my friends. Check out the playlist right here for more eye-opening content. You can join me on the Eye Opener Telegram chat room, and you can follow me on Newmaker, Gab, and Parler. All the links are in the description below, so don't forget to please sign up to our email list so that we can stay in contact with each other. I want to thank you all, and I'll see you next time.